Hello, this is Dr. Yogi again, and today we're going to look at how to get the case studies done. The first case study is already up, and there's an approximate due date of June 15th. Those are when I'd like to have them by. So if you look here, it says case study. Click on the link. There are videos to help you, and the data set is here. So we're going to click on the first link. Here, case study. So I've already got it pulled up. And we'll look at case study number 1. This is on page 85 through 86 of your textbook. There's a case problem number 2. Motion picture industry. Use the data file given on the page to create the graphs and discuss how each variable affects movie sales. The project should be between 2 to 3 pages, and the discussion for each of the 4 graphs is as important as the graphs themselves. Demonstrate that you can take data presented in a neat graph and understand the relationship between the graphs and sales. So we're going to go over here. This is the page in my textbook, and there's the first part. The motion picture industry is a competitive business. More than 50 studios produce a total of 300 to 400 new motion pictures each year, and the final success of each motion picture varies considerably. The opening weekend gross sales in millions of dollars, total gross sales in millions of dollars, the number of theaters the movie was shown in, and the number of weeks. So here we have that data. To get a hold of that data, you'll go back here, click on data set 2, open, find the data set for movies. Okay, we will not be using that because you'll have to do that on your own. So I've made up my own data set here. This is a toy company that sells 7 different types of toys: a toy truck, a rubber duck, an airplane, a boat, race car, battleship. These are the first month sales. These are weeks on the market. These are total sales, number of toy stores. And if you see here, I've got weeks on the market. I'll explain that in a little bit. Well, I've got that on there twice. Okay. So going back to your assignment here, you can see that we've got data for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 movies. Opening gross sales, total gross sales, number of theaters, and weeks in release. Now, we need a managerial report. We're going to use the tabular and graphical methods of descriptive statistics to learn how these variables contribute to the success of a motion picture. Include the following in your report. We're going to be using Excel to do all of this. So we're going to open up Excel. And there's my data set. The first thing we want, tabular and graphical summaries of each of the 4 variables along with the discussion of what each summary tells us about the motion picture industry. So we're going to go back here. I'm going to delete this. And we're going to do first month sales here. So we're going to graph that against toys. Highlight toys and the first month sales. This bigger here so you can see what we're doing. There we go. So the first thing we want is a graph. So we're going to go here, first month sales, and we're going to make a bar chart. Excuse me. Make a simple one. Now, Excel takes whatever's on the left-hand side here, and that becomes your independent variable. In this case, what type of toy we have. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We've got all our toys. And whatever's on the right-hand side becomes the y-axis. Now, this doesn't mean much here. So what we're going to do is we're going to make this look nice. We're going to go up here to Add Chart Element. We want axes titles. We'll start with the vertical. That is first month sales. So here, we're going to delete this. And we're going to write first month sales. That looks nice. We also need a horizontal axis. So we're going to go over here, axis titles, primary horizontal, and this is going to be toy model. Up here, we've got first month sales. That's not enough information. You make this nice. We'll say by toy model. And if we were doing this for a real company, we put their name down, but we'll say for ABC Toys. So there, we've got a bar chart for first month sales for each type of toy. I'm going to cut this. Let's see how I do it in a second here. I'm going to cut this. And we go back here to sheet 2. And I'm going to paste it on there. Okay. So go back to our data set here. We would do that for each type of toy. Now you're going to experience a little bit of a problem. If we do the next one for toy sales here, it's not next to toys. So that's going to be a problem. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy. Oh, excuse me. I'm not going to do that. First thing I'm going to do here is insert a row. I'm going to copy toy sales. I'm going to paste it there. Total sales, excuse me, not toy sales. Then I can go ahead and make my chart. I'll highlight toys. Scroll down to the bottom. Then I'll go to insert a graph. We'll make a bar chart, simple bar chart, and do like we did for the last one. That just makes it easier to do. And we're going to delete that because we're not using that anymore. Okay. Next thing you might want to do would be a line chart. 2D line. Okay, before you do that, I want to highlight what you want to graph. So we're going to graph these two again and do a nice line chart. There you go. You see we've got first month sales based on the type of toy. We would do just like we did before, label our axes. The first thing you want to remember when you're doing a graph is that you're doing this for someone else. Someone who knows little to nothing about what you're talking about. So you've got to make sure that you label your axes. Units are marked off by Excel. We don't have to worry about that. And give it a good title so that someone can understand what you're talking about. And we'll cut and paste this here. Save that for later. All right. Now, one of the things you'll want to do is a scatter chart, scatter plot. So before we do this, well, we'll get to that in a minute because let's read this. The next thing we're going to do is a scatter dime to explore the relationship between total gross sales and opening weekend gross sales, and then we're going to discuss this. Your discussion will be written in a Word file. So for my project here, I'm going to do a relationship between first month sales and total sales. So I'm going to highlight those two columns. I'm going to go here to scatter plot. We're going to do a standard scatter plot. And you can see here, I've got first month sales on the bottom, and I've got total sales on the axis here. And it just says total sales up at the top, so I'm going to need to change that. We're going to go to add chart element, axis titles, and I'm going to go with the primary horizontal. The horizontal is my first month sales. First month's sales. Need a cap there. And next we're going to, after we click out of that, add chart element, axis titles. We need one for the horizontal. You got to erase axis title when you do these. Make sure you do that. And I'm going to write total sales here. Total sales, and we'll put by toy model. Make it clear. By toy model. Then we're going to put up here total sales versus first month sales by toy model for ABC Toys. That's the name of our company here. Okay. And you can see we've got a nice graph here. Now, what does this mean? If you look here at lower levels of first month sales, the toys don't sell very well. Higher levels of first month sales seems to increase sales. So that would depict a positive relationship. Now, if you're not sure or you just want to do it to make your graph look nice, find one of your points, right-click on it. I just picked any point, doesn't matter which one, I right-clicked on it. And I get this menu here. I'm going to add a trend line. Now, for our purposes, we'll only use linear trend lines, but it's possible we could have exponential, logarithmic, polynomial, power, or moving averages. Moving average is a different type of chart. If you're using time series, we're not. So we're just going to stick with linear here. And you can see it's a dotted line. We can change that. We can make it a solid line. We can make a shadow on it if we want, and I don't. Okay, and there's our trend line options. We're not going to mess with it too much now. So there's my trend line, and if it's upward sloping, that's a positive relationship. If it were downward sloping, that would be a negative relationship. Here, what this means is as first month sales go up for the toys, so does the total sales of toy by model. Now, this is just one type of a relationship, but that's what we're going to do. So what I would write here is I would say, well, for part B of the problem, as there appears to be a positive relationship between the first month's sales and total sales by toy model. As first month sales increase, total sales for that particular toy model seem to increase. And you could fill in there anything you might know about the toy industry or the movie industry, right? If total sales are high for the first week of a movie, maybe people spread by word of mouth how great the movie was, and that makes more people want to go to the movies. If your first month or if your opening weekend is high for a movie, that gives it more free publicity, something to that effect. So I'm going to cut this, and I'm going to put it over here on sheet 2 and paste it. And I've got it labeled. Now, the one thing you want to make sure you do, you can see I did this before, I'm just going to delete that one, is make sure that you label these charts. If you don't, then I don't know what they are. You can move these over. You move the chart, you can move the whole thing. I'm going to try and move the whole thing. I want to undo that. Okay, this video is about to end, so we will have part 2 when we get back. Thank you very much. Goodbye.